Hey everyone, I am here today in Wilmington, North Carolina, visiting the Battleship, North Carolina. This battleship was used in World War II following the Japanese attacks on Pearl Harbor. Come with me and I'll give you a tour. All right, we are boarding the Battleship. And welcome aboard. The first thing you'll see as you board the ship is 3 20mm gun mounts, anti-aircraft guns used to shoot down enemy aircraft. The Battleship had a Kingfisher plane on it. Although the plane had several purposes, two of the most common were rescuing down airmen and for searching for enemy submarines. Also, being that the Battleship doesn't have a runway like a aircraft carrier would, the way the plane would get back on is it would come alongside the Battleship using the pontoons, and then they would use this crane to hook down onto the plane, and then they would raise it back up and bring the plane back onto the ship. These big guns right here, the turrets as they're called, the barrels on them are 60 feet each in length. You can only just imagine in the heat of battle during a war, all the guns on this ship, just how loud it would be. It'd be insane. Now we're up in here inside the turret. This turret was called an officer's booth. It could hold up to 2 officers and 13 men. You got these little rooms that shows you how the men would go in there. They would load the missiles. Shows the first stage right here. Then you come over here to the next little room and it shows you them coming further along with loading the missile. And then the third and final room when the missile is just about ready to be launched. Here we come to the 1.1-inch quadruple mount gun. It took 15 men to use and operate this gun at one time. A picture as an example that you can see. Now we come to the front of the ship. And you see the chains holding the anchors. Each link in this chain weighs 80 pounds each. It's a pretty massive weight. Here you see where one of the anchors is detached. But you look down here and you could see where the hole where it would be. Come over here to the other side and you can still see there's one that is attached down there. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah. The very front view of the ship. All right, let's go up to the upper levels. And here you can see the Combat Information Center. Here we got the beds of the captain and the navigator. Here's one of their rooms. And the second. It says that the captain and the navigator had small sleeping quarters while at sea. And then here we have the chart house. This was the navigator's primary workplace. All right, now we're on the bridge. Another view of the front of the ship that the captain would have, and all the men working up here with him. Here they got a 26-foot motor whaleboat. It was used to transport personnel, supplies, and mail. And you can see the motor right there. All right, now we're going to enter the lower decks and the bowels of the ship. They got a church. They got a pulpit, the pews with their hymnals, so the sailors could worship and pray while out at sea. They got the bread room, the bake shop. That's where they kept the bread. Had the table where the men would make pies and cakes and donuts. Even got a little display shelf here showing a lot of the stuff they would have here in the bake room. Even here on the side of the wall, they've got some of their recipes. All right, this is the engine room. One thing you would definitely want to make sure if you were to ever visit here and come on the tour, don't drop your cell phone or keys or anything else of importance on this floor, or you probably ain't gonna get it back. Go down in them crates. All right, here we come to the main control panel of the ship. Back up. All right, here we come to the butcher shop of the ship, where they cut and prepped all the meats for the sailors. Get an idea of some of the meats they had here. Hot dogs, ribs, bacon, sausage, chicken.
And then this is the meat.
All right, here we come to the chow call. It shows an example of a Thanksgiving dinner here. We got turkey legs, turkey slices, mashed potatoes, stuffing, peas, asparagus, cranberry sauce and salad, and apple pie. And it even said that they gave the sailors cigars and cigarettes. That was part of the Thanksgiving meal. Come into the kitchen. Now over here, you see this grill on the floor where there's all these yellow markers. It used to be all grills here from what I heard, but they all got pulled up, most of them. An awful lot of cooking that went on in here, I'm sure. Alright, and here we've got machines that the sailors put potatoes in them, turn the machine on, and it describes it as having like an abrasive sandpaper like material or something inside that would peel the skins right off the potatoes and empty them into this bucket. Here you got the vegetable locker. Kept all the potatoes and onions and lettuce. Alright, here's a couple of drinking fountains that they called scuttlebutt. They said this is where the sailors would get together and just gossip and rumor at the scuttlebutts. And this room right here is called the scullery, where they did all the dishes. Also aboard the Battleship, they had their very own police force, which they called Master at Arms. And this was their quarters, where they slept. I had a little desk here, typewriter, telephone, and right next to it is their office. Even though there was a desk in the other room, I guess this is the official office. And there's a cot up there, so I guess that might have been where the chief of the Master of Arms slept, possibly. They had 2 stores aboard the ship. This one looks like the sailors could buy pens and paper and shoe shine sets, shirts, brooms. And here's another store, the second store on the other side of the same room. Here they got more like candies and cigarettes and luxury items. And this window you can see the cash register and where the cashier would be. Here they've got ice cream machines where they made their own ice cream and they stored it here. And this is where the sailors would buy their ice cream. They called this the Gadunk, the little ice cream shop for them. The ice creams and sodas, floats. The ship's post office. They actually censored a lot of the sailors' mail here, make sure they weren't giving out any information about where they were going. The garbage grinder, they ground the garbage up really fine so that way they would make sure they weren't leaving a trail behind them for their enemies to follow them. Here we have the ship's barber shop. Regulation haircuts only, obviously. And there was also no tipping allowed to the barbers. That was one of the rules on the ship. Although they did say that sometimes the sailors found ways around that and they would tip the barbers anyways. Alright, down here we got the athletic gear locker. They got some baseball bats. Not quite sure where they were playing baseball at, but they have them. Got the tailor shop. Bring your uniforms to get pressed or sewed, stitched. And the tailor, as you see the mat over there, obviously he worked and slept here. You got a cobbler shop. Where the sailors would bring their shoes for repair. You got the laundry room where they washed all their uniforms. And this right here looks like the inside of one of the machines, what it would look like. Here's the laundry receiving room, where the laundry would go after it was washed. And the ironing room, where they would bring their clothes and iron them. The laundry issue room, where the sailors would come and pick up their laundry, their uniforms, be in a cubby with their name on it. And a print shop where the ship printed its own newspaper. It was called the Tar Heel. All right, this is the berthing quarters. This is the area where all the people, except for the tailor who had his own bed where he worked. This was for the barbers, the launderers who did the laundry, the printers, the printing press people, all the people that worked down in this area. This is where they slept and stayed. This area is known as the wishing well. Down here, the sailors used to lower heavy projectiles. Now, it's just where people drop change and it goes to funding the ship. Let's see if I can get in the bucket down there. No, I missed. Oh well. Oh, that was cool. Here we see a room where they keep all their canned goods stored. Beans and vegetables, or whatever else they had. Corned beef hash. And here we've got a movie projector room. Got an old record player over there. Old reel-to-reel camera. And even though they got tables set up, I guess they would clear this out. And you can see the screen over there at the other end. Probably bring in chairs, lower the screen, watch movies for the sailors. All right, here we see in this room one of the sleeping quarters for the crew. All the cots that could fold up and then be lowered back down at night when it's time to sleep. And the head, or is more commonly known, the bathroom. Got their sinks, showers. I guess these are where the toilets were. Their urinals. Privacy, you lost that when you joined the Navy. Here we come to another kitchen. Apparently they needed many places on this ship, multiple places to prepare, make food. We got some vegetables, got some A1 sauce, corned beef hash, sweet pickles, dill pickles. Here we got a room where they kept all the suits and the gear, and when they would get suited up themselves to go diving into the depths of the ocean. The ship even had a machine shop, of course. Here, this was the Auxiliary Combat Information Center, otherwise known as CIC. Here's the damage control station where ship conditions were monitored. Here we're in the Radio Central Supervisor Station, where they'd monitor the radios, and they work the typewriters. They would be typing out on the paper the messages that come over the radios. And we'll go down these spiral staircase. Here we come to the gunpowder room. And this is what a finished gunpowder bag looks like before they roll it into here to have it passed on to wherever is going next. Here we got a dentist office on the ship. They get their teeth cleaned or maybe pulled, anything that needed done. Here they got medical supplies room, a dark room where they would develop x-rays. At the laboratory where they ran all the medical tests for the sick bay. Got the magnifying glass and the elixirs, all their little books and potions. The dispensary or the pharmacy, and you can see in the back they got 2 beds, so the pharmacists, they worked and slept here. You got a doctor's office. There's a stethoscope on the wall. You got an isolation ward where they would quarantine anyone on the ship who had anything that was contagious that they might spread to other crew members. Here you got a operating room to perform surgery at sea. Those doctors had really steady hands. Here we got the sick ward. I guess this was just for the more common sick and not the ones that had something that they needed to be quarantined for. Got the bathroom for the sick people, the sick men. That right there is actually a bathtub, as small as it looks. And it was for the sick men who couldn't get into a shower. One thing you'll notice if you ever come on the tour is that much of the ship's walls are white, but when you come to certain levels, they're a pea green. In this area, it's called officers' country. Obviously, officers only in these sections. Anyone else must be supervised. Here in this room, we have the warrant officers' mess hall. You can see a picture on the wall of how it would have looked in here. And also their pantry. Here we got an officer's stateroom. As you can see, at least compared to the regular crew members, a bit more luxurious by comparison. It's at least got more of a close to a normal bed over there. Got a fan on the wall, aiming down on them. Got a little desk for cards, and it's got a pipe. Medical officer's quarters. And he's got a little baseball glove on the desk next to his typewriter. So Marines formed the 7th Division in the gunnery department. There were approximately 85 Marines and 2 officers. The enlisted Marines shared a berthing compartment with Navy enlisted men from communications and medical departments. So this was one of the rooms they stayed in, as an example. Got their little Marine pennant hanging up over there. Got a calendar over here, October 1943. A couple of bunk beds. Here got another officer's quarters. And another. This is the flag office. Every battleship was equipped to host an admiral and his staff. This is where the admiral's staff would work and sleep. Here we have one of two supply offices. The supply department was responsible for ordering, maintaining, and distributing all the goods aboard the ship. And here's the second supply office right next to it. Here we got the gunnery office. The gunnery department operated and maintained all the ship's weapons. Here's where Liberty chits would be picked up. Each division had a Liberty petty officer who would come and collect the chips for his division, which was authorized permission for them to leave the ship for 48 hours or less. Here in a room back on the main level of the ship is a memorial to all the men who died. It says, in hallowed memory and in tribute to these heroic men of the sea who died in battle while serving in this gallant ship. And then around the room, it's just got the names of all the men who lost their lives. And here it says, the Roll of Honor perpetuates the memory of the 10,000 North Carolinians of all the United States military service who died in World War II, not for fame or reward, not for place or for rank, not lured by ambition or goaded by necessity, but in simple obedience to duty. As they understand it, these men suffered all, sacrificed all, dared all, and died. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Well, I'm leaving the ship. My shore leave has been authorized. It's a really big ship, and if you ever decide to take the tour, you might have to take it more than once, possibly. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy this video. Take care.